Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on Kamala Harris. What the hell, Biden? Man, if there's one thing your brain made a mistake on today, it was picking her to be your VP. And let's be honest, you're really picking her to be president after you retire, which I imagine will be very shortly within the first year of your presidency. Uh, I mean, Kamala Harris, really? This is an article from Politico magazine, and this is about how ruthless she is and how she won her first campaign. In the mid 1990s, says the article, Harris had dated Willie Brown, who was investigated by the FBI when he was Speaker of the California Assembly, and as mayor was dogged by a conflict of interest, and she had benefited from his political patronage. Yeah, and he was married. So she was banging an older married man who helped her career politically. Really? This is the person you're going to pick? I mean, that tells you all you need to know right there. But part of the reason Biden apparently picked her is she was good friends with Beau Biden, the late Beau Biden, his son. But, you know, first off, she's got a record as being a tough prosecutor and a cop, essentially. What do you think all those Antifa idiots? I mean, they weren't going to vote for Biden, really, but now they definitely won't vote for this ticket. All the Bernie bros, these people don't like cops. They hate cops. They spend all night in Portland chanting ACAB. ACAB. All cops are B words. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that he would pick her. I was just talking about this today, and I said, there's no way Biden's that stupid. I mean, anybody at this point would be a better pick than Kamala Harris. She got kneecapped by Tulsi Gabbard in the debates. And would have, she would have went on to kneecap Elizabeth Warren, but they wouldn't even let her. I mean, and no offense to Tulsi, I think she was a decent candidate, a decent person at least. But she wasn't exactly setting the world on fire. But she lasted longer than Kamala Harris in the debates. Jesus. Kamala Harris bows out. I mean, she had to bow out. She was, except with this tiny sliver of very loyal fans, Kamala Harris is not popular. She's just not. She's very unlikable. Her record she's got this tough crime record, which isn't going to help her this election. She's got this scandal, essentially, with Willie Brown, which she, I guess she kind of defends as being okay, but, how do you get voters on board with that? Like, you're basically asking voters to overlook the fact that you were banging a married man. And that's a tough ask, because you're going to have a lot of people in there. They've ever been cheated on in a marriage? No, thank you, bye. They're not going to be good with that. People who are religious, and part of, I think, the strategy that the Democrats are going here, we got a person of color on the ticket. But, there's a very traditional, I mean, the black community is very traditional in a lot of ways. A good portion of it is. You still have a significant church-going percentage of people in that group. They don't like this kind of behavior. I mean, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to a lot of people. And you got to spin it. Well, he wasn't really married. He was kind of separated, and I was just enamored with him. You got political help from him and banged him, at least according to what I heard. So, what does that make you? It just makes you ambitious enough to do anything for power. That's not exactly a qualification for president. I mean, did you have to bang Biden to get the VP slot? I have to ask. Not that you'll answer me. Not that anybody else will ask you. Well, maybe Trump might ask you. But, and that's the other thing, too. I don't think you're qualified to be president at all. I don't think you're qualified to be vice president, but, you know, vice president, you don't really do anything. But in this case, you will be doing something. You'll become president. So the idea that you're going to take someone like Kamala Harris and make her president, I mean, look, Barack Obama was very young, but, you know, a lot of people were enamored by him. And he did have a great way of speaking. And that was a skill that's of value to the position. You know, I didn't like Obama as a president, but I can at least acknowledge that the guy knew how to talk to people, and that was something. That was something that presidents do. Kamala doesn't do that well at all. And the fact that she got kneecapped by Tulsi Gabbard in a debate, essentially a relative newcomer on the scene, because she's even younger than Kamala Harris, tells me that you're not going to weather this storm. It tells me you're not going to get elected president or vice president either, but my God, what a terrible, terrible pick. I mean, anybody else at this point would have been better. The only thing I can think of is, now, initially today, I heard the rumor that Kamala left a meeting with Joe Biden upset. And that seemed to be, at least on the internet grapevine, an indication that she wasn't getting VP slot. So the fact that she did get it, why was she upset? Could it be that Biden already told her, listen, I'm not going to be the one running for president, but you're still going to be vice president, but Hillary Clinton's going to run in my stead? You know, maybe. It sounds like they would do way better with Hillary Clinton at this point. Now, I don't know if Biden did this all on purpose, or he's just falling apart, or a combination of both, but it sounds way more plausible that Hillary Clinton's the actual presidential candidate, and this was a gambit to keep Hillary out of the limelight for most of the campaign until you got super close to the election, so Trump didn't have weeks to just bash her. But Trump doesn't need weeks to bash her. He needs like 10 minutes. So I don't think you're going to be able to switch Biden out like, the day of the campaign. So at some point, if Biden's tapping out, and this ticket, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, the two most unlikable women on the face of God's green earth, except for maybe, I don't know, Elizabeth Warren's pretty unlikable these days too. And maybe Susan Rice, I'm kind of neutral towards her. But, my God, Hillary Clinton and her, I mean, you might as well just fold your tent and go home. What is this? She's got so much baggage. The only thing I can think of is Biden must have insisted because he promised it to her and she was friends with Beau and he feels obligated. And, I can understand that. Maybe he doesn't have any intention of winning. But there's no way any of those Antifa morons or BLM idiots are going to vote for her. No way. They hate cops. They don't care what race she is. Well, they kind of do because they're all racist. But hey, that don't matter. She's a neoliberal to them. She's worse. She's worse than Trump. She's a traitor in their eyes. Not mine. There. Kamala Harris, seriously? Seriously. Like, out of all those people, like Elizabeth Warren, I mean, wouldn't have been a great choice, but better than her. I mean, if you needed a person of color, Tulsi Gabbard would have been great. She's very capable and young. Kamala Harris is not that young. I mean, younger than Biden, but Tulsi Gabbard would have been great. So great. But she probably wasn't on board for the globalist agenda, whatever the hell that is. Stacey Abrams, even her, at least she's kind of an underdog, and people don't know anything about her. People know Kamala Harris. They've already hated her. If she had done better in the debates, maybe. My God, Buttigieg, he would have been a good choice. What does she bring to the table? She's a senator in California. You own California, Democrats. So now you just own it more? All your votes are going to be in California and maybe Delaware, because that's where Biden's from. And I guess New York, and that's it. You're going to lose the rest of the country? Like, at least if you had picked someone, I don't know, from Texas or Florida or someplace like that. I mean, Stacey Abrams is from Georgia. She lost, but I assume she has some fan base there. This is a disaster. I mean, I'm not even rooting for the Democrats, and this is a disaster to me. God, how badly do you want to lose this thing?